Hi, I am back again with another 10 questions for your PMI-ACP exam preparation. In this particular set, I am focusing more on matrices, and these matrices are relevant topic for product as well as for delivery domain, because we want to measure our product effectiveness so that we can also adapt accordingly. Similarly, we also want to measure our delivery effectiveness. So they may look little connected. That's why these questions may touch product as well as delivery domain. We are starting with question number 111. If you have not watched our previous questions, you can find the playlist in the description area of this particular video and see our previous question. Let's start with question number 111. You are working on an e-commerce product development project with 6 iteration planned before the release goes live for customers. As the team progresses, you have access to key performance indicators such as velocity, trend, burndown chart, and stakeholder sentiments, Nico calendar, to assess the project health. Now, there are some data here, and then we see the given the project status, what action should you consider to ensure successful product launch. So we are planning a release, and I have 3 charts in front of me. I will look at the options, and if you face these kind of questions, first thing is I need to be very clear what information is getting exhibited through these charts. So velocity trend, which is shown here for 5 iterations, I can see velocity trend is improving direction. It's pretty stable and also going more and more in an improvement direction. So it doesn't seems to be any problem. The burndown chart shows little burn up after iteration 1 got over. So during iteration 2, we see some burn up happening. But after that, the trend is also, the burndown chart trend is also showing pretty smooth. So we can see that things might be touching as per the release target. If I predict this line further, the iteration 7 seems to be a good target. So velocity in burndown chart seems to be showing good progress. That's something we can see from this particular chart. Now this Nico calendar, it shows the sponsor, business, delivery manager, and support. So I have some expressions here, but I can clearly see that the sponsor and business are initially in the first iteration, they were happy. At the end of a first iteration, they were happy. But afterwards, their feelings are not good. And by the end of the 5th iteration, they are feeling little concerned. Yeah, that's very, very clear. The delivery manager seems to be not happy in the 2nd iteration, but afterwards, the delivery manager seems to be happy from last 2 iterations. Support people are usually happy with this particular release. So what I can sense here is the delivery manager might be happy because velocity and burndown charts are showing good trend, so delivery has no problem. The business and sponsor may not be happy because they may not be getting scope of adaptation, and maybe the flexibility is not there. We are just finishing what we are planned to finish. So that much interpretation I can make based on these 3 charts. Now, given the current project status, I need to find out which particular what action should you consider to ensure successful product launch. So this interpretation should help me in identifying the right alternative. So option 1, maintain the current pace and ensure that committed user stories are completed as planned. Looks good, but the only thing is it is not taking care of a Nico calendar. It is only saying that you are doing great, your velocity is great, your burn down is great, move forward. But in general, whenever I see a question and I see many data, at least the data which is shown as a concerning area, I need to have some action item around that. So A, I can easily discard because it is not taking care of Nico calendar. Option B, engage with business stakeholders and sponsor to understand concerns and align expectation for remaining iterations. Looks good because the delivery is not a problem. The stakeholder concerns could be a problem. So option B for me is a good candidate option. Option C, push the team to increase their velocity further to ensure faster delivery. Can happen, but that doesn't seems to be taking care of the problem. The velocity is a nice trend. The burndown chart is a nice trend. Focusing on the nice trend is not the usual thing we do when we are dealing with the question. Option D, work with the stakeholder to ensure no new work get added in the release since we are just 2 sprints away. Again, it may just ensure that we finish the release, but it may further make your sponsor and business feel bad because you are not taking care of appropriate engagement there. They have some concern and you are ignoring those concerns if I go with option D. So coming back, looking at these charts, I can easily select option B. So for this answer, this question, option B is the right answer. Now I can map this question to product task 2, manage increments, because we have to manage our increments in collaboration with our stakeholders. And I can also map it to taking early feedback, because we want to go to a successful product launch by incorporating the feedback rather than just finishing the release, which was initially got planned. Question number 112. Yeah. Which of the following might clarify the burn-up observed after the second iteration in the burn-down chart? Yeah. So we have the two charts given. One place you have a velocity. So we see the velocity is consistently growing as we have information. And at the end of in a release level burn-down chart, we can interpret that that's the burn-down chart in the right side. We have a after iteration 1, we had something after iteration 2, rather than going the burn down chart down, it is going up. How can that happen? Yeah, that's the simple question. So I believe this is an easy question, provided we really understand what is the intent behind the burn down chart. The burn down chart always shows how much work is remaining work. And as we move from one iteration to another iteration, the remaining work should be reducing. And by the end we finish our release, or we are approaching towards release, our remaining work for a given release should be near zero. That's the focus area. If our remaining work is increasing, it can only increase in few situations where either we are adding more work in a given release scope. So the amount of work done in the second iteration, and we might have added more work, that could be the increase in the burn up can be seen in a burn down chart. Sometimes because of new work or a rework got added because of defects or something, and if you estimate the defects, also can increase the remaining work burn up. It also can happen if you do a re-estimation of your work items, and the thing which you have estimated, say 100 before, now after re-estimation they are becoming 150. In a given iteration, you probably have a burn up as well. So these are the possible things which can create burn up. But good news here is I need to just select the one which fits well. So I need to see the 4 options and see if we have an option which can clarify why this burn up is happening. So option A, the team velocity unexpectedly dropped, leading to a backlog increase. So say that drop in a velocity can give you a flat line. If you have a zero velocity from one iteration to another iteration, it will just give a flat line. It will not increase your remaining work. Yeah? So that doesn't it's not seems to be the right reason. Option B, a large number of incomplete user stories from iteration 1 were carried over, affecting the burn down. Even if you have a more incomplete stories moving from iteration 1 to iteration 2, it can probably increase the velocity of iteration 2, and it can make you do further a steep burn down in the iteration 2. So your curve will go further down rather than going up. Yeah. So B is also not clarifying this particular situation. The team had a deployment rollback requiring team to redo previously completed work. This can happen. Yeah. This could be the reason of seeing the burn up. Yeah, that's a candidate option. You may have some rework coming in, and the rework is getting re-estimated, and it can create a burn up. That's a possibility. Option D, more work than the velocity of iteration 2 was added as new scope to the release backlog during the iteration 2. Now, when I compare C and D, both are pointing to a similar thing, but D is more clear. It is saying the work which is more than the iteration 2 velocity got added. The point number C was just telling that there is a possibility of rework getting added, but rework or a new work, irrespective of that, some work has been get added into a release backlog, and it is more than the velocity of the iteration 2. That's why we have a burn up observed in the burn down chart. So option D is more clearly saying which might be the reason behind these two situations. Good velocity, but having the burn up in the burn down chart. So option D looks great for this question. This can be mapped to manage agile matrices. You should be able to interpret the matrices. You can expect these kind of questions. The only key of answering this question is not to feel afraid of seeing the chart, and just try to limit what information is available, not to add too much information, and try to see all the 4 options to identify which one will fit well here. Question number 113. You are managing a release cycle where each sprint duration is 2 weeks. The team has been making progress as shown in the burn down chart. As you approach sprint 6, you need to consider the following factors. The sprint 6 has a 3 holidays, reducing the available working days for a given sprint. Okay. One full team day is required for final release management activities, preparing for deployment, documentation, stakeholder alignment, etc. When can the release be made? Okay, so the question seems to be that I have a burn down chart and I want to predict when this release can be made, and each iteration is 2 weeks a duration, and there is some information. Let's see the burn down chart a little bit more closely. So here I see a burn down chart is pretty smooth. Yeah, if I just go with this trend, I should be hitting near sixth iteration or a little bit beyond that. That's something I can see in the trend. Now there is some information given that sixth iteration velocity may not be as per the historical trend. Even if I say 50% effectiveness, still this trend is showing that clearly I will finish the work in sixth, seventh iteration. Maybe optimistic I can finish in a sixth, but by the seventh iteration it should get finished. Now somebody will say, how can you see that? So say we are seeing the trend. Even if you find difficult to interpret, that this was your fourth iteration and this was your fifth iteration, you can clearly see that it might have been more than 25 story points completed during an iteration. That seems to be the slope. And here we are somewhere at a 30 story points. So we need to finish around 30 story points. So with the trend of 25 story point, I should be able to finish that in next 2 iteration, even if in a 6th iteration we have a gap. Yeah, that's something we clearing. Now somebody will say, no, I'm still not clear of how you got 25. It could be easily calculated when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 iteration done. And you can say that I'm starting somewhere at a 130 story point and I am finishing somewhere at a 30 story points. So I can say that, okay, minimum, I have finished 100 story point in the 5 iteration. So on average, 20 story point velocity was anyway coming. Yeah. So even I take this average of a 20 trend, now there could be a scope fluctuation. There is a possibility some scope may be getting reduced. Yeah, that's a possibility. But usually, since it is coming as a trend, we don't expect the scope was reduced incrementally and progressively in each iteration. If that is happening, then we can also estimate this will happen further. So I can clearly see that it should be somewhere between 6th and 7th iteration we can make a release, even if we have a less capacity in the iteration 6. Now based on this, we see the options. So option A, at the end of a sprint 6, since the current trend suggests the remaining work will be completed despite reduced working days, difficult to say because we have around 30 story point work left, and we can say 20 to 25 story, average is 20 and the last iteration seems 25. So I can say 25 story point work still get finished, and we have an indicator which saying that, 6th iteration will have little less velocity than the historical one. So predicting that it will get done in 6 is difficult. We can't predict the exact release date based on this data, as we need more information on the team capacity. In a way, we can say that in a way it's true and false. Yeah, we probably don't have a information which are beyond the current graph. Maybe there is a dependency and those informations are not there, but at least the team capacity and velocity trend is available. Yeah, so we should be able to predict by which iteration it will finish, rather than we are saying that we lack the team capacity information. Yeah, we have a team capacity information. Option C, at the end of a sprint 7, to provide extra buffer for potential last minute fixes or unexpected delays. That seems to be feasible, yeah, because my work should get finished in the mid of 7th iteration itself. I would say that it will be easy to predict that we should be able to finish this whole thing by the end of 7th iteration. Yeah. So we are not predicting the date, we are predicting the end of the iteration, which is more or less like predicting the date, because usually we try to do things at the end of iteration. Yeah. It is not a rule. Can we make a release in the mid of the iteration also? Yes, yeah, that's a possible. But when we are predicting, looking at the data, we can say at the end of a 7th iteration, we should be able to make this particular release with some contingency. Option D, extend the release into sprint 8 to ensure high quality and minimize last minute's risk. So we don't need, there is no indicator which says that you will take extra sprint. That's there. So I would say that it's easy to ignore A and D, because A is saying that you will finish in a 6th sprint, D is saying that you will take another sprint. The B is basically making a reason of non-availability of team capacity. If the reason of unpredictability is something going into something else, then probably I will choose B. But here the team capacity information or a trend is available that is given to me, I better go with option C because it is fairly showing me that yes, we should be releasing this particular release at the end of 7th iteration. So I will choose option C. You have your own choices. We can discuss in the comment area of the video. As I said, you don't have to agree with me 100%, but if we agree 90% of the time, you are good for PMI-ACP exam. So this is more about managing the matrices. I'm mapping it, manage agile matrices. Question number 114. As a product owner of an e-commerce platform, your sales team has shared the following insights from the past 8 iterations. Yeah. So you have a website traffic, you have a conversion rate, and you have a sale. Now, before I read the question, I can just quickly scan what might be the concern area, what is a positive trend. So when I see a website traffic, I see a significant increase in website traffic. In the iteration 1, it was 1,000, and by the end of iteration 8, it's a 3,500. So I'm increasing the website traffic, and I don't see anywhere it got dropped. So it was consistently increased. Then I see a conversion rate. I also see the conversion rate started from 3.5 and right now it's a 1.1. It's decreasing. Yeah. When I see a sale, sales are pretty much consistent, little bit increasing only, but sales are there. Yeah. So we are making the sale, our conversion rate is going down, and our website traffic is increasing. So in a simple word, we have a more visitors, but still the increase in the visitor is not proportionately increasing the sale, because as we are increasing the visitors, our conversion rate is also going down. So I need to find out something which can clarify what is going wrong. Yeah, that's something is coming out from this particular data. Now let's see. You now need to investigate further to understand the cause of these trends and decide what action to take. Yeah, okay. As a product owner, what would you like to investigate further? Yeah. Checkout process and traffic quality. Identify frictionless process in checkout and assess visitors' relevance. Now, this particular analysis will help me in understanding first conversion rate, checkout process, people are coming and buying, that's a conversion rate, and also the amount of traffic which is coming, is it really relevant? Yeah. So to me, it is addressing the concern which is clearly given in the data. Let's see other option. Mobile optimization and product pricing, analyzing mobile usability issue and impact on pricing on conversion. So say the question was, the data which is shared here is not talking about that any issue with the mobile optimization data. So I need to add more assumption to agree to option B. Yeah, so that thing is not coming. Product pricing, yeah, could be there, but there is no data showing change in product pricing. Yeah, there is that data is missing. There could be a reason, and we can investigate further. But mobile optimization and product pricing data is not coming out of this particular data. So whenever I am dealing with the question, I need to focus on information given and what investigation I want to do based on the information given, not something beyond that. So I can ignore option B. Option C, page load speed and marketing targets, measuring page performance and evaluate campaign effectiveness. So page performance can create an issue related to conversion. Probably people come to the visit and then they click it and it takes a long time. That's a possibility. Marketing targets, evaluating marketing campaign effectiveness may not look as a concerning area because we are getting more visitors. Marketing job is to bring the visitors. So though the page load speed not directly coming out of the data, but could be an issue, but marketing targeting doesn't seems to be an issue looking at the data. Yeah, option A is clearly showing me a better data to analyze. Option D, user behavior and promotion impact, study drop-off points and effectiveness of a current discounts. So possible, there is a possibility of because of discount conversion is not happening, but the data is not showing me that particular information. So if I revisit all the option A is clearly showing me a concern based on this data itself. When I am analyzing this, maybe I discover some more areas which requires investigation. But as of now, looking at this data set, I can go with option A. And this I am also mapping to manage value delivery, though there is a matrices here, but I am focusing on product and we are finding out what kind of problem we should solve. So I am mapping it more to a product domain. Question number 115. You are a product owner leading an MVP cycle for a new subscription-based fitness app. The goal of the MVP was to validate product market fit and gather user feedback before scaling. Yeah? So you are running MVP. You have an MVP version 1 and there are the result. The net promoter score was 60% promoter, 40% passive, 0% detractors. Yeah? So you have a 60 as a score. User praised the app's simplicity and ease of use, but some requested additional features like goal tracking and workout personalization. Yeah? So new features were also asked. Now MVP version 2 result after adjustment of the MVP version 1, you have a net promoter score NPS 50 going down. Yeah, earlier it was 60, now it's 50. But the details are also given for NPS, 70% promoter, 10% passive people, and you have a 20% detractor. So there are negative feedbacks coming from a 20% people. The passive population has moved to the negative population. That something has happened, and 70% population started liking the new work. Yeah. New features were added based on the user feedback, but some user found the app more complex now. Okay, so people who requested the feature or the type of people who were requesting the feature, they are liking it. But people who were passively using it, they find it more complicated and they started complaining about it. Now, what do? Based on MVP results, what should you investigate further to ensure the app achieve the right product market fit before full scale launch? Yeah. Now, see, this maybe looks very lengthy question, but you may get few in your exam like this. But when you are preparing, probably prepare with a more comprehensive one. Yeah, so this is why we are seeing it. If I just analyze the question before I go to the options, it is clearly showing NPS decline, but it also showing a specific segment liking it more. Yeah, this information is given and the feedbacks based improvement was done, but still we have a drop in NPS. So I am in an MVP stage. I need to find out what should I do before I take the path forward. So what should we do next? Let's see based on the data which is given. Option A, user experience and simplicity. Identify friction points in the UI, onboarding flow, and ease of navigation. So we are saying we can improve the user effectiveness because that's something is coming. Now, yes, that could be there. That could be that because people are finding it complex. But the whole idea is my goal of MVP is finding the right direction and fitment. Yeah. So the question is saying you should investigate further to ensure app achieve the right product market fit before we do a full scale launch. Yeah. So maybe we are understanding that it requires some amount of user easiness, which is anyway good. But let's see if we can get a little more specific, which is focusing on product market fit. Yeah. Option B, feature adoption and engagement. Analyze which new features user actively used versus those being ignored. Yeah, these are important feature is thing. I can analyze that which are the features are getting more used to understand where the interest is. That's possible. And probably it will prioritize that area. But fitment for the market as a word may not come out from that. Let's see. Option C, customer segmentation and needs. Investigate whether different user group, new versus existing user, have a varying expectations. Yeah. So see, the whole idea of MVP is you have a hypothesis and you want to validate your hypothesis. It's not a final product. And you want to focus on right learning so that you can either change your direction, you can pivot, or you can preserve it, you can continue working in which direction you are working. So it's more like a directional decision you have to take. It is just not improving the product. So that kind of input I'm getting from option C. We are saying, we have a situation here. Some users are liking it, some users are not liking it. Which one is more important for us? Where should we focus more? And accordingly, we will optimize our process and we will focus in that particular direction. So that is very clearly coming out from option C, not very clearly coming out from option A and B. Both are talking about good matrices, which are outcome matrices, which we should be focusing on when we are incrementally delivering thing. But the essence of MVP is not very clearly coming out in A and B. Let's see option D, performance and stability. Assess whether app speed, crashes, and lags are impacting user satisfaction and retention. Yes, we can do definitely that. But again, the MVP thing, yeah, is it that because of these things our NPS is going down? It's possible, but there is a more detail given. You have a customer segmentation information given in the question, and you have an option C, which is primarily focusing on validating your hypothesis and deciding in which direction you want to go. Yeah, that's the whole idea, and that's why the option C is more suitable here. So making it mapped to manage value delivery. Question number 116. You are the product owner of a mental wellness app designed to help user with mindfulness, meditation, and stress management. After launching the MVP version, your goal is to analyze key performance indicator to refine backlog priorities and enhance the user experience. Yeah, so here it is primarily giving you an idea about backlog priority and enhancing user experience. It is not focusing on identifying the segmentation. Yeah, that is something is not coming here. There, and maybe you don't want to launch the next MVP. You are just say you have launched it, now you want to go to the next level. Okay, to ensure early insight into product success, you need to focus on leading indicator metrics that predict future trend rather than just measuring the past outcome. So seems to be you have a clarity about your MVP, you want to persevere into that particular direction, and you want to get some early input to understand what should we do next. And for that, I need to find out which all matrices can help. Yeah, so you can say to ensure early insight, you need to focus on leading indicator matrices that can predict the trend future which you are using. So which of the following is the matrices you will choose? Yeah, we can add that particular statement as well, but that's the question. So feature adoption rate and session duration looks like a good idea. NPS score and subscription renewal rate, onboarding completion rate and customer satisfaction score, session duration, and revenue growth. So see, this particular question is one of the simple side question. This question is asking you the difference between leading indicator and lagging indicator. Yeah. And out of these four options, which option contains the leading indicator? That's the only question. That's it. Yeah. Now, leading indicator is something which is giving you early information about, are you going to make a sale? Are you going to make a progress? Yeah. Are you going to satisfy your customer? And lagging indicator is customers are satisfied or not satisfied, or sale is made or not made. Yeah. So NPS and customer satisfaction is something coming later once you have delivered it. Revenue growth also comes something later. Now, are the people really using it? They are sticking to the application? That seems to be the early information. They are using it. Before they are happy or unhappy, they should be using it. And that's why option A is a good leading indicator in this particular situation. Rest of the thing is just a noise. We just want to understand which one is leading or which one is lagging indicator in question number 116. Yeah. So option A looks good. I can map it to managing agile matrices. I can also map it to manage value delivery, because when you run in your PMI-ACP class, you will learn about leading and lagging indicator usually in the matrix section, but you also talk about NPS scores and other things in your product delivery section. Yeah, so both workbook of your exam preparation you get from PMI will contain these information. Question number 117. You are managing a software development team working on an AI-powered chatbot. The team has been facing delivery challenges due to impediments. So you asked your team to track the impact of blockers over the last 4 sprints. The data is as follow. Yeah. Sprint velocity, story points delivered, estimated max velocity if no blockers. Yeah. Blocked stories, story points. This is a little interesting. Yeah. So it is saying that you have been into a situation from last 4 iteration, and you are facing problems because of blocker impediments. Yeah, that something is happening, and you have a sprint data. So sprint 1, you had a 20 story point as a velocity, and estimated max velocity was your 28 if there was no blocker. And in this particular sprint, you got 2 stories which got blocked. One was 3-pointer, another was 5-pointer. Okay. In sprint 2, you had a 18 as a velocity. You could have achieved 26, but you had one which got blocked, which was 8-pointer. Okay. Sprint 3, you had a 20 velocity. You could have achieved 25 because one story got blocked, which was a 5 story points. The sprint 4, similar story, you got 2 story got blocked, and they were overall in the total 10. So you are presenting a case and you are trying to analyze that, what is happening? We are getting so many stories getting blocked. And because of that, the velocity is coming less, but it could have been in better. And we are planning for as per our estimated max velocity, but we are unable to achieve it because we are consistently getting things blocked. Our planning is consistently happening in this particular data around 25 to 26 story points. That's what we are seeing. Yeah, but our real velocity is coming between 16 to 20, but our planning is still going into 25 to 26. It looks like as a team, they can commit to this much work on a consistent basis. Now, looking at the sprint data, what insight you can and team drive to improve their performance in coming sprint. So what should we do? Yeah. In a simple word, we should get rid of these blockers. Yeah, we should have something which can help us in removing this blocker. And if we do that, we will have a better velocity, and we will not be wasting our team's time. Let's see what are the options. So option A, work to identify systematic impediments that are creating blockers in the sprint, since resolving them can increase team productivity, team production capacity maybe. Yeah. So yes, it looks very relevant. Yeah, we should be focusing on resolving these impediments so that these things should not get blocked, and we should be going fast. That's a good idea. And what insight can the team drive to improve the performance in a coming sprint? That's a little trick, because question is specifically asking in a coming sprint. Good candidate option, but it may be a little long term as well. Maybe I can't do it in a next sprint alone, and it may require a little bit coordination and collaboration with other areas of our organization. Let's see. Option B, the team is planning beyond their effective capacity and should commit to fewer stories per sprint. Yeah, that may look good as well. You can say, guys, why do you plan for 26? Start planning for 16. Start planning for 18. Yeah. But what if, even if you plan for 18, still you get blocked? Because blocked is not happening because of, the indicator is not coming that because of you guys are things are getting blocked. It is getting blocked because of some unavoidable situations which are happening somewhere else. That's why you prepare this data. So even if I plan for 18, I may only be able to do 10 because the 8 pointer may still get blocked. Yeah. So that's the looks attractive, but not looks that great. Option C, work with the product owner to identify stories that are less likely to get blocked during the sprint. Yeah. Improve backlog refinement, aggressive impediment removal. In a way, the C takes care of A as well, that you should be removing impediments, but it is basically focusing on, in the next sprint, we are focusing on in sprint 5, we should be taking those stories which has a less likelihood of getting blocked. Maybe we focus on our improving our backlog refinement. We identify the dependencies or issues in advance. So those stories which are expected to be ready only get picked up. So the probability of block reduces. And even if something is getting added, we are doing aggressive impediment removal. So looks great. C is like a textbook answer. To me, this is the great option. Option D, the team should increase their sprint commitment to match the estimated max velocity. That seems to be happening. If that was not happening, then we should not be getting the max velocity as a consistent level around 25 to 26. So we don't have to make them commit more and target the max possible velocity, that they are already doing that. Yeah. So looking at all these options, option C looks great here. Yes, it is a little tricky, but if you go through your digital workbook, if you study the delivery digital workbook, you will see a case study where the Scott Ambler content was there, and it talks about these kind of matrices. If you get an idea, you get a clue, and those case studies which are given in your digital workbook can show up in the format of question in your exam. Yeah. So don't ignore those case studies from your workbook. So map to manage agile matrices and managing the impediments and risks. Now, question number 118. You are managing a mobile app development team and tracking lead time and cycle time over the last 3 weeks to improve delivery efficiency. So you have an average lead time, you have an average cycle time. Yeah. So one thing is very clear, the average cycle time is reducing and average lead time is increasing. So say when I just have a word cycle time and they don't give a little bifurcation, I can assume cycle time is the time from where the team starts working on it and the team finishes their portion of work. That's a cycle time I can take it. There is a possibility of, in a whole Kanban board, we may define cycle time at a multiple level. There could be a development cycle time, there could be a testing cycle time. But when we have an average cycle time, I can say it is starting from the point when team is starting working and finishing it. That's a cycle time. And lead time has a simple definition from the point we got the idea item and the point it get delivered to the customer. That's a lead time. So in the question which I see here is that I see a clear increase in the lead time, but I also see a clear decrease in the cycle time. Yeah. So these two trends, which seems to be going in an opposite direction, that is given. Now, what could be the interpretation of it? Yeah. So what could be the most likely cause of this trend, and what should the team focus on? Yeah, that is the area of focus. Now, whenever the word team comes in, you can include everyone: project manager, scrum master, product owner. Yeah, you don't have to include only developers there. The team word is generic. Yeah, there's a whole team where should we focus on. Yeah, assuming we are doing retrospective on it. So option A, the team is facing too many blockers in the development process, delaying progress and increasing lead time. It's not true. Yeah. So once you are starting the work, since your cycle time is reducing, you can't say that, we are starting something and then we are facing a problem. It's not true. You cannot interpret that. Option B, work is waiting too long in the backlog, possibly due to unclear priorities or demand exceeding capacity. Seems to be. Yeah. So in a simple word, when you have a development time is not taking more, but overall time is increasing, it is somewhere in a waiting stage. Yeah. And one of the possible waiting stage is before we pick up the work. Yeah, it is going beyond team boundaries. Yeah, somewhere before or after the team role gets over, there the stoppages are happening, and that could be the reason. Option A could be the reason, which can just clarify this particular trend. Yeah, so B looks good. Option C, the team work in progress is increasing week over week, leading to longer wait time before new work starts. If your work in progress will increase, you most likely your cycle time will also increase. Yeah? So we don't see a clear justification of increasing in work in progress, because it should be leading to increase in cycle time as well. Option D, the faster work completion rate is causing rework and inefficiency, impacting overall delivery quality. Can be possible. Yeah, can be possible, but which is again going as a B. It could be that you are adding a lot of items and they are waiting there. Yeah, you are having more work items getting added. Yeah, that's the case. So overall, yeah, we need to compare between D and B. Yeah, that's the idea. So here, the waiting too long in the backlog is definitely clear. What is the cause of that? It could be any cause. It could be because we have a rework work getting added, and that's why the other work is waiting. That could be. Or we may have a more work coming from the market. That could be. But there is a mismatch. The work reason for that demand and capacity mismatch is not clear, but there is a mismatch. Yeah. So the D required adding more information, whereas a B is safe play. Yeah. So we definitely can say from this data, B is the most likely the true answer. So I will go with option B in this particular case. So managing and understanding the agile matrices, that seems to be the answer. Question focus here. Question number 119. You are managing a mobile app development team and tracking key matrices over the past 4 sprints to assess the delivery performance and user satisfaction. The data trend are as follow. So I have 4 sprints, production incidents. Yeah, so I need to first see what all the matrices are. So production incidents, lead time, net promoter score. Yeah. So most production incidents seems to be increasing. Clear. Yeah, they are pretty much increasing. Lead time reducing. Yeah. Okay. So team is delivering fast, end to end. That is definitely happening. Yeah. They are getting something and they are throwing it out fast. That's there. Yeah. Net promoter score reducing. Yeah. So customer satisfaction is going down, delivery speed is increasing, and production incidents is delivery speed is better, increasing. Yeah, you are delivering fast. Yeah, increasing means you are delivering fast, but production incidents are also coming. So in a simple word, it clearly shows that you are taking a quality hit. Yeah, and there is some process which needs to be improved so that quality hit should not create a customer dissatisfaction. That much information can be seen easily from this data. Let's see the option. What is the most likely explanation for this trend, and what should the team focus on? The team is delivering too fast, compromising quality, leading to more production incidents and unhappy users. All 3 tables are covered in option A. So it is saying, I interpret all 3. Looks great. Option B, the backlog contains too many low value items, decreasing NPS despite faster delivery. Option B could be true, but it doesn't take care of column first, production incidents. Yeah. and it is just adding information that you might be working on a low value added item. That's why NPS score is going down, but that information is not given in the question. Option C, stakeholders are requesting too many changes affecting user experience and increasing production incidents. Yeah, maybe, but your lead time is reducing. Yeah, that something is not coming clearly here. Yeah, so maybe because of more work, the trend is going long, but that's maybe the data is not available here. The option D, the team's faster lead time indicates improved efficiency and the production incidents are unrelated. Definitely not. Yeah, production incident definitely has some relationship with the NPS score. So if I read all this, I come back to the option 1 back, and team is delivering too fast, compromising quality, leading to more production incidents and unhappy users. Something can be seen here. Yeah, so option A is my answer here. You have another one, please put it into the comment. So managing agile matrices, I'm mapping it to that place only. Question number 120. You are responsible for tracking performance across multiple agile teams in your organization. However, each team measures success differently based on their unique workflow. Example of team specific metrics is the mobile development team measures stakeholder satisfaction using NPS and user retention. The data warehousing team measures stakeholder satisfaction using the number of reports run and data accuracy. The enterprise software delivery measures delivery efficiency using cycle time and schedule variance. Since teams are using different metrics, rolling up performance data at the portfolio level is difficult. How should you leadership aggregate and standardize matrices for organization-wide decision making? Now, if you are getting confused with these matrices name, actually they are part of your delivery workbook. You can just say PDF page number 50. You will see all these table of these data very, very clearly. Yeah. Again, even if you have not read it, if you have an experience, you can interpret these things. But if you read your delivery workbook, these things will not look unfamiliar to you. So now the situation is that we want to aggregate the things at a PMO level or at a portfolio level, but each team has their unique way of measuring things. And how do we aggregate so that at a group level, we can make some sense? Now, this question is looking as a coach role, as a PMO kind of role from you, and you need to say, okay, this is how we possibly can help and assist in aggregating this particular data. So let's see options. Option A, enforce a single set of matrices for all teams. In general, you believe in autonomy. Yeah, you see the motivation topic in your leadership domain. You don't want to enforce. There is a uniqueness. Each team has their unique problem. You learn in the metrics section as well that depending upon the context, we need to measure things because we want to find out relevant problem for ourselves. Yeah, so not good idea. Group metrics into common categories for portfolio level reporting. That's the answer you will see when you study your delivery workbook. It tells probably we can say quality related status. We can talk about maybe a timeline related information. We can talk about say agreement on customer satisfaction level thing. So we can identify 6-7 areas which we want to monitor. And for each team, these areas might be monitored using different matrices. Yeah. And later on, we can have some formula to calculate if this matrix is X, we will say it's a good stage, green stage, or orange stage, something like that. So we use some categories and it has the rooted details which are different for different teams. And based on that, we can aggregate at a portfolio or a PMO level. So that's what you learn in your thing. And that's the right answer. Track only financial matrices like budget variance and revenue. Not necessary. Depending upon the context, you need to track what makes sense. You have a Nico chart, which is basically focusing on feelings only. You have an NPS, you have a customer CSAT matrix given in your content. You need to see other things as well rather than just financial data. Ignore team specific metrics and rely on executive monitoring, executive reporting. So executive reporting is okay, but you need to have a real drill down of executive reporting which is coming from the team rather than someone just summarize the things and give it to you. And summarize the status of the project. So in all, option B looks great because that's the thing you will learn when you study your delivery domain workbook. So overall, this is mapped to agile matrices. You are managing the agile matrices. These were the questions which we were referring here. If you have any follow-up query, You can put it into the comment area of this particular video. If you want to get more assistance in getting PMI ACP certification, I do run classes which can help you to get certified and also help you in understanding Agile in far, far more detail. We take lots of examples and URLs. Beyond the digital workbook, we get into various tools and some sample resource files as well, which helps you in doing better Agile work management rather than just getting PMI-ACP certified.